What is going on, everybody? What is going on, the Catch fam? My name is Jon Dawson, and in today's video we are hopping to another 2022 fantasy football mock draft. Today we are running through the ESPN platform. This will be a full PPR scoring format and a 12-team draft. If you do enjoy today's content, be sure to hit that like button down below. Hit that subscribe button if you are new to the channel. We put out free daily fantasy football content, and at the moment we are doing a subscriber mock draft nearly every single night at the channel. Be sure to join our Discord down below to get those updates on when we are drafting, as well as our draft invites, and feel free to drop any comments, questions, concerns pertaining to the 2022 fantasy football season down below. All right, let's hop right into this one with the first overall selection. No surprise there, we've got JT off the board for me in a PPR scoring format at the running back one position. Once JT is gone, I like Eckler and Derrick Henry the most. For the purpose of today's draft, let's go ahead and roll with Austin Eckler. Of course, Christian McCaffrey being available there offers a ton of boomer bust, ton of upside, but we'll go ahead and roll with Austin Eckler being a part of such a lights out offense with the Chargers heading into the 2022 season. I like Derrick Henry quite a bit there as well. I mean, I've really got Henry and Eckler just neck and neck in terms of my personal rankings, and then JT at number one, obviously. But moving into the 2022 season, I've really been conducting this strategy of starting with a running back in the first round, then switching to a wide receiver in the second round, and just repeating that pattern between the two positions, running back, wide receiver, then eventually letting a tight end fall to us as well as a quarterback. And really, this draft strategy has worked very well for me. So for the purpose of today's draft, that is how we're going to roll through things here. All right, so CMC went at 5 overall. We've got Najee Harris off the board, Justin Jefferson, Dalvin Cook, and Jamar Chase. 3 more selections here in the first round. So with pick 23, like I said, we're going to be targeting a wide receiver, and then at pick 26 we're going to go after another running back. We should be able to land pretty good value at that point in the draft as well. So let's see here. DeAndre Swift gone at 10, Stephon Diggs gone at 11. We've got one more selection until we wrap up the first round. Plenty of good players still hanging around as we approach the second round. There goes Devonte Adams to finish off that first round overall. So Debo here is the first selection of the second round. There goes Joe Mixon as well. I'm really hoping for James Conner at 23, but I don't think he's going to slide out. You never know. Someone might go ahead and select a tight end or quarterback. Really, I will say with ESPN's rankings that they have got the top 2 tight ends, Mark Andrews and Travis Kelce, far back in comparison to other sites and other platforms in terms of rankings. You will probably see Kelce and or Andrews go by the mid-second round in most platform. So I won't be surprised if we see either of them off of the board before that 23rd overall selection. Like I said, I would love to land James Conner, but he is far gone, and we're going for receiver anyways, but my eyes is always on James Conner. That is how much I like him moving into 2022. So looking at the available receivers, I love Keenan Allen here, and I love Mike Evans. I think that there are a couple other names that I like quite a bit, like Waddle as well as Higgins, but I'm going to go for Evans just to give this roster some diversity. I don't want to go too heavy into the Chargers offense, although if you're going to go after any offense at this point in the offseason, the Chargers are definitely in the top 5 in terms of offensive stacks to go after, but we'll hold off. We'll try and target Mike Evans here. I think he's a steal at 23. I love him at that value. And the other flip side to that is we can go ahead and target Mike Williams a little bit later in this draft if we did want to go after another Chargers receiver. So Aaron Jones gone, Javonte, James Conner, Leonard Fournette, and there goes Kelce at 22. Big run at running back, and there goes Kelce. Like I said, he's not going to last to the 30th overall selection. I mean, he might, but if he did, we'd have to put an asterisk next to his name, right? So let's scoop up Mike Evans here, and then looking for another running back at 26 overall. I mean, I think that Nick Chubb is the best available running back, but once again, through ESPN's rankings, he is a lot lower than he is in other platforms. So I'll take him here, but it's a little bit of an asterisk. I like Saquon Barkley offering a ton of upside here. Once again, some boomer bust potential there. Of course, I like Zeke right here, don't get me wrong, but I'm going to go ahead and roll with Nick Chubb. I do think he's the best available running back, even if it's not the most realistic draft pick. We'll go and put a little asterisk next to his name, but I like him there, and it's a pretty good start to this roster, right? We got Eckler, Chubb, and Evans. So moving into the 4th round, we'll have to go ahead and target another receiver. And then at this point in the draft, with Mark Andrews still hanging around, not too entirely worried about the tight end position yet, but we want to go ahead and kind of queue up this first tier of tight ends overall, so to speak. Or really, you could just go ahead and queue up all the tight ends that you would like to go ahead and have as a tight end one, and just keep an eye on them. And then as the draft is progressing, we want to keep an eye on the quarterback position as well, making sure that we do land a quarterback that we're confident in for the season, as well as a tight end one that we're confident in on top of that. So no quarterbacks taken quite yet. And that's another thing, right? Through ESPN's rankings and just through most of the mock drafts I've seen conducted on ESPN, it's not entirely realistic. You will probably see Josh Allen by the end of the second round, if not the mid of the third round. After that, it's fair game for Justin Herbert and Patrick Mahomes. Then you just don't know when that next tier is going to get broken into between Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray. I would say Joe Burrow and Jalen Hurts as well. Burrow, very, very low on ESPN's rankings. He is someone who's going much, much higher in mock drafts overall. I would say Burrow and Hurts are easily going before Prescott in most of our subscriber mock drafts. All right, continuing here in the third round, plenty of talent off the board. Barkley, Allen, T. Higgins, David Montgomery, Josh Jacobs, Mark Andrews, and Jalen Waddle all gone. So we do have two tight ends off of the board. We've got the 47th overall selection. We could consider going for a tight end here, but I would like to hold off between the 4th and 5th rounds and wait until the 6th or 7th round to land our tight end. I still think we can get a tight end that I personally believe in, and just continue to stack up at the receiver and running back positions and still get a ton of value at the skill position. So looking at pick 47, I mean, if Mike Williams is hanging around, I'll take him all day long there. I don't even care if we have too much of that Chargers offense. Like I said, if there's one team to go after, it's probably the Chargers at this point in the offseason, maybe the Bengals as well. As we approach that 47th overall pick, I really like DK Metcalf's value here. I like Hollywood Brown as well, especially those first couple of weeks while D-Hop is out. So we'll just kind of sit back and see who gets selected before putting too much thought into it. So Zeke's gone, DJ Moore, J.K. Dobbins. Moving into the 4th round, we got Michael Pittman and Josh Allen gone. And we'll kind of just sit back and see what happens here. I mean, plenty of talent hanging around. Scary Terry, Deontay Johnson. We've got a couple nice names at running back. Breece Hall, who just got selected after Patrick Mahomes is gone. I do really like either Travis Etienne or Elijah Mitchell, and to some degree Antonio Gibson as that third running back we're looking for at pick 50. So we'll see what happens there, right? So let's say we get to pick 47 and there's a number of receivers that we like, but just one or two running backs that we like. It does make some sense to go ahead and pick up that running back and stray away from the exact order of running back, receiver. Remember, guys, anytime you're conducting a specific strategy, it is okay to defer from it when you are making those decisions that ultimately affect your roster in a positive way, right? So don't hurt your roster overall just because you're trying to stick strictly to a specific strategy. But looking at things here, I would say DK Metcalf is easily my number one target here. Then at pick 50, I would love to land Travis Etienne. So we'll kind of see what happens here. I mean, a lot of good talent wiped off the board. We do have two QBs gone in Josh Allen, Patty Mahomes. Breece Hall gone, Mike Williams, Deontay Johnson, Scary Terry, Antonio Gibson. Kyle Pitts, our third tight end off of the board. And then Darnell Mooney, all go, and I'll take DK Metcalf all day long. He does have the same bye week as our guy Mike Evans, but we'll get through here. So I'm going to go and pick up Travis Etienne. I love him as an RB3. Looks like we might be hurting in week 11 with another week 11 pick, but nonetheless, two good running backs in front of Etienne. So I love the start to this team, man. I feel like it's a great overall start. Eckler, Chubb, Mike Evans, DK Metcalf, and Travis Etienne. So as Justin Herbert is taken off the board here in a phenomenal value in the 5th round with the 51st overall selection, we do want to continue to pay attention to that tight end position. We've still got plenty of good names hanging around, but there does come a point where personally I don't want to pass up on George Kittle. So we'll see if he's available in the 6th round, and then there's going to be a lot of players taken, but I would love to target a Hunter Renfrow and a Devonta Smith moving in to these next rounds. If either of those guys come out of the 6th or 7th round. I'm taking them all day long. I also like Hopkins' value at this point in the draft as well. I like Allen Robinson as well, but he's a little bit of a more flashy name who's going a little bit sooner overall. And then we'll kind of move back into the running back position. I love A.J. Dillon. Love to have him as an RB4. I like Rashad Penny in that same spot and Melvin Gordon. So just kind of queuing up some players that I would really like on my roster. Okay, looking at quarterback, we haven't broken into either of those next 2 tiers, but we definitely want to keep an eye on it as these next couple of selections and rounds continue to progress. So Jerry Jeudy's off the board, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Chris Godwin, and there goes our 4th tight end and Darren Waller as we continue to move through the 5th round. If you guys are enjoying the content today so far, be sure to hit that like button down below for me. It really does help. And of course, if you are new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. Come join the Catch fam, and we would love to have you in one of our future subscriber mock drafts. All right, a lot of talent starting to go here. So Elijah Mitchell's gone, Miles Sanders and George Kittle is gone. So for me personally, once Kittle is gone, we've really broken into that next tier of tight end. And the player that I absolutely love, is Dawson Knox. And especially through ESPN's rankings, you can get him a little bit cheaper throughout the draft. And really, he's been a tight end that's gone all over the place in fantasy mock drafts throughout the offseason. So I would say that Goddard and Dawson Knox are the 2 names that I would really like. Then Hunter Henry and Mike Gesicki are kind of those cushion players who I like, but I'm not crazy about like I am maybe a Knox or Goddard in terms of upside. So we'll keep an eye on all the tight ends, and if we need to fall back on Gesicki and Henry, we'll do so. All right, into the 6th round, we got Lamar Jackson, Cooper, Robinson, Schultz, Sutton, CEH, Tyler Lockett, and Gabe Davis. Lots of talent being wiped off here. So, wow, we're at an interesting point here. 2 really good receivers that I like here. A lot of really good quarterbacks hanging around. We might take a risk or 2. I mean, I think if we could land Hunter Henry right here, okay, and Devonta Smith, I think we're just loaded at receiver. But we're taking a big risk if we can go ahead and take a quarterback with a lot of upside here, right? Jalen Hurts, Joe Burrow, even Brady, Prescott's hanging around. Let's, for the sake of tonight's mock, let's take a risk. Let's stray away from the running back position, because I think there's a small chance, although he's one of the top backs available, we can land A.J. Dillon in a later round moving into the 8th round. We'll just sit back. It's a big risk. We need a quarterback. I would like another running back that I'm confident in, and we need a tight end. So taking a little bit of a risk tonight, straying a little bit away from our strategy, but we got a lot of good value at receiver. Mike Evans, DK Metcalf, Hunter Renfrow, Devonta Smith. Love that receiving room. Renfrow and Devonta Smith, probably my 2 favorite mid to late round receivers you can go out and target. So we're probably going to lose out on the ability to either draft a Jalen Hurts or there goes Jalen Hurts and Prescott, or a Joe Burrow, and we're probably moving into that later round of quarterbacks with a Matthew Stafford or a Russell Wilson. And if things go too badly, we're moving into Derek Carr, Trey Lance, Kirk Cousins territory. A.J. Dillon, one of the top running backs on the board, but he is ranked at 113 overall. So we'll take a little bit of a risk going by the ADP in today's platform through ESPN. We might get big risk payoff. We'll find out in a couple minutes here. So Tom Brady's gone, Hawkinson's gone, Aaron Rodgers gone. Big run at quarterback. We may have pushed our luck a little bit. We'll see what happens. Going to be an interesting 8th round overall. There's plenty of value at the receiver position. So one thing we could have done there, well, there goes DeAndre Hopkins. I was about to say we could have made Hopkins more of a premium target, but it looks like it's a good thing that we didn't, because he is gone at pick 82. Drake London's gone. Garrett Wilson's gone. Into the 8th round we are. There goes Damien Harris, Dallas Goedert, Chase Claypool, and Joe Burrow off of the board. So things are getting interesting at the quarterback position. A lot of good receivers hanging around. Running back, there's still a lot of big names. I'm worried with A.J. Dillon being the top guy. And there goes Russell Wilson. There goes Zach Ertz. There goes Russell Gage. Mike Gesicki's gone. All kinds of talent. Zach Ertz is gone. Matthew Stafford's gone. So we are getting hurt at quarterback. We have moved into kind of that late round tier overall. But we're going to go ahead and pick up A.J. Dillon nonetheless. get that value at running back. And, ooh, we're in an interesting spot here. Do we go tight end or do we go quarterback? I'm going to go QB. I don't want to move away too far from this very last tier. We'll take Derek Carr at the quarterback position, and I'm not too upset about that, but I might try and target a second QB like a Trey Lance or a Kirk Cousins. So let me know in the comments down below. The risk that we ended up taking was taking an extra receiver who we had high conviction in with both Hunter Renfrow and Devonta Smith, and risking to see if A.J. Dillon would fall out, because Dillon was my next overall selection, or another quarterback, right? So let me know in the comments, right? Did we take too much of a risk? Did we lose a lot of value getting Derek Carr as our QB1? Or did it ultimately pay off being able to still land Carr as our QB1, both those receivers and Renfrow and Smith on our bench, and then A.J. Dillon still as our RB4? I mean, I'm actually not too upset with this, especially for the pure fact that we could plug in Renfrow at the flex or even at the wide receiver 2 spot and get that nice stack between Carr and Renfrow throughout the season. So I think this team is actually looking pretty good, even if we don't have a ton of upside at the quarterback position. There are plenty of members of the fantasy community who are very high on Derek Carr and his potential moving into the season, so I can live with that. I mean, Carr at our QB1, Eckler, Chubb, Etienne, and A.J. Dillon, and that 12-man league is a beautiful running back room. Looking at the receivers, Mike Evans, DK Metcalf, Hunter Renfrow, and Devonta Smith. I love this receiving room. I mean, like I said, Renfrow and Smith are my guys in those mid tiers, in those late tiers overall, that I think are just being far too slept on, especially in full PPR drafts as a whole. So we have got 1, 2, 3, 4 more spots to fill. Now, getting back into the swing of things, I want to land Dawson Knox at 119 or 122. Outside of that, Melvin Gordon is looking pretty attractive. I mean, Trey Lance, Kirk Cousins as well. I don't think we really need to focus too much on the receiver position. We could potentially land a Tim Patrick and Michael Gallup a little bit later in this draft, and I like both those guys quite a bit. So I might be holding off at the receiver position, going for another running back and our first tight end, and we really need to land Dawson Knox. I mean, I like Hunter Henry in the same tier as well. Both of them very effective in the red zone last season. Not as helpful in a full PPR league, but nonetheless, I like both of those guys' upside. But I like Knox more just because I think the Bills' offense is going to be much, much better than the Patriots. No disrespect really to my guy Mac and Cheese or anything, but I kind of like Josh Allen more at the quarterback position. So let's land our tight end 1 in Dawson Knox. Hunter Henry off of the board. You guys did see that Melvin Gordon was selected. So now we're kind of in an interesting spot. I'm actually going to take a second QB here in Kirk Cousins. I know Trey Lance offers a nice upside there, but I'm going to take Cousins, get 2 consistent guys in Carr and Cousins. Then to finish out this roster, we're going to aim for a rookie running back. For me, I like Dameon Pierce and I like Tyler Algier. I think both of them are going to have an opportunity to potentially step up and be a running back 1. Outside of that, I like Darrell Henderson. I take a chance on J.D. McKissick. And really, in terms of the running backs available, those are the only guys that I would feel fully confident adding to my roster. So we're going to try and get 1 or 2 of those guys. And then looking at the receivers available, I don't think we'll be able to land Jon Dawson, but I would love to have him on this team. I'd take a chance on either of these Kansas City wide receivers and McCole Hardman and MBS. I like Joshua Palmer to a degree. I really like Tim Patrick and Michael Gallup, though. If I can come out with either of those 2 players in the 12th or 13th round, I would be very, very happy. I like Van Jefferson and Rondell Moore as well. I don't mind KJ Osborne. I don't know if you need to draft him in a 12-man league. And I like Kendrick Bourne as well. So I'll go ahead and get those receivers queued up. Looking at the tight end position, you got Cole Kmet, very effective in PPR scoring formats. Oh, he just got selected. I'm sorry. No Cole Kmet. But I like Albert O for an upside pick. Irv Smith is kind of interesting, but I just don't know. Outside of Robert Tonyan or Albert O, if there's anyone I really take a chance on here. I like Gerald Everett, the change of scenery, as well as Hayden Hurst with the change of scenery. Maybe an Austin Hooper or a Tyler Higbee, but I like Knox as a tight end 1. I'm pretty confident in that pick. If I did go with another tight end, though, I'd probably take a chance on Robert Tonyan, to be honest with you. But we've got both those rookie running backs hanging around, but I really like Tim Patrick as well. Really, really do. So I'm going to go ahead and draft Algier here. And man, I really like Dameon Pierce. It's really tough here. It's really tough. I'm going to, well, man, it's hard because I want to take a chance, but I'm going to go Tim Patrick here. I really think he could be utilized pretty heavily within that Broncos offense. So we'll take Tim Patrick here, and we'll move right along. If Dameon Pierce lasts, he will be our final selection. If not, we could take a chance. I mean, there's some players I'm higher on than others who are on this queue, but I'll just go ahead and take a look. I mean, I kind of like the idea of actually going after Robert Tonyan as a tight end too. You guys know that I've been really high on Kendrick Bourne as a final draft selection, showing that great chemistry with Mac Jones last season. So we'll just kind of sit back here. Some kickers and defenses start to get auto-selected, and really I think if we get any of these players on this queue to finish out this draft, we're in a good position. It does look like Dameon Pierce got selected, so he is no longer an option as we are moving in to the 14th round overall. We're just getting all kinds of random players and kickers and defenses selected here. And with pick 167 coming up here in the 14th round, there's so many directions we could go here. I mean, let's take a look at things. Running back room looks pretty solid. Wide receiver room looks pretty solid. Could probably use another receiver or a tight end. I really think any of these players would help shape out this roster, but I'm going to go ahead. I'm actually going to select Robert Tonyan just to give some consistency behind the position, and that'll kind of finish things out. So we actually ended up with 2 quarterbacks and 2 tight ends and some nice depth overall on this team. Let's go ahead and take a look at who we think is more valuable here, a kicker or a defense. There's not really any kickers that stand out to me. Maybe Chris Boswell. Greg Zuerlein moving to the Jets is probably a nice option, but it's very possible either of those guys are available next round. So let's go ahead and pick a defense up. I like the Chargers in terms of upside, but I'll go ahead and roll with the Patriots just because they are so incredibly consistent on a yearly basis. As we finish out this 15th round and move into the 16th round, I think we put together a pretty nice squad here. We got Derek Carr and Kirk Cousins at the quarterback position, so not a ton of upside there, but probably the 2 best late round quarterbacks to go out and target. Remember, took a little bit of a risk earlier in the draft and passed on a Jalen Hurts or Joe Burrow. I would way rather have Burrow or Hurts. I think easily either of those guys could finish in the top 5, arguably even the top 3 at the position. But overall, that allowed us to get some more depth at the receiver position. So overall, Carr and Cousins at QB. At tight end, we got Dawson Knox and Robert Tonyan for mid to late round tight ends. I'm pretty damn happy with both of those guys being on this roster. Running back position, we got Eckler, McChubb, Etienne, AJ Dillon, and Tyler Algier. I love that running back room. If I came out of a 12-man draft and I had those 5 running backs, I would be ecstatic. DK Metcalf, Mike Evans starting our receiver position. Outside of that, we got Hunter Renfrow, Devonta Smith, and Tim Patrick. Absolutely love that receiving room, man. You know, we didn't get as many skill position players on this team because we did get an extra tight end and a QB, but I'm really happy with the quarterback room, the tight end room, running back room, and the receiving room on this team. I think this is a great team overall. All right, so Chris Boswell is still hanging around. Jake Elliott had a great season last year. Really, it's not going to make a huge difference who we pick here at kicker, so let's just roll with Jake Elliott and go ahead and finish out this draft. So here is one last look at the team. We got Eckler, Evans, Chubb, Metcalf, Etienne, Hunter Renfrow, Smith, Devonta Smith, I guess I should say, AJ Dillon, Derek Carr, Dawson Knox, Kirk Cousins, Tyler Algier, Tim Patrick, Robert Tonyan, Patriots defense, and Jake Elliott. I think a beautiful team overall. For the most part, we were following that running back receiver method. Then we kind of switched here, went receiver, running back, and then we just kept an eye on the quarterback and tight end position. Still ended up with a good QB and tight end room, in my opinion. Derek Carr, Dawson Knox, and Kirk Cousins, as well as Robert Tonyan. Outside of that, once again, running back, Tyler Algier, receiver, Tim Patrick. So we kind of strayed away at certain points in the draft. Like I said, don't hurt your overall value, don't hurt your overall roster by staying too strict to a strategy, but eventually get back to your strategy as well. And I think it worked beautifully with this draft. I would be very happy with this team at this point in the offseason, moving into the 2022 fantasy football season, especially in a 12-man league. I think this is a beautiful roster. So if you guys enjoyed today's video, be sure to hit that like button down below. Be sure to subscribe. It would mean the world to us here at The Catch, and we would love to have you in one of our future subscriber mock drafts. Be sure to join our Discord. Link is in the description down below. Completely free to do so. That is the best way to get updates on when we are drafting, as well as our mock draft invites. And feel free to drop any comments, questions, concerns pertaining to the 2022 fantasy football season down below. And be sure to let me know your guys' thoughts on today's draft overall. And that'll do it for today's video. And with that, I got nothing else to say. But thank you guys so much for watching and or listening. And remember, you saw it here on the catch.